The 12th house is the room in your chart where you put everything you don't want to deal with, and the place where it eventually comes back to find you. It's the part of your chart that holds your secrets, even the ones you keep from yourself. The 12th house is always an enigma because it is the house of secrets. It's the house of the subconscious. And it is known as the house of self-undoing. Heavy stuff indeed. So I'd be remiss if I didn't include a video on the 12th house in this wellness series, because wellness is not just physical. Wellness is emotional and spiritual as well. And in this video, we will be discussing just that. So if you're interested and you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So welcome to day 3 of my wellness and astrology series. And today we are exploring the elusive 12th house of the natal chart. This is the house of rest, release, the subconscious, endings, healing, and the emotional weight you carry beneath the surface. Apart from, let's say, the 8th house, I feel like the 12th house is one of the most misunderstood houses of the natal chart. Not necessarily because it's negative, but because it's very deep. It is like the Pandora's box of our lives. We know there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, and oftentimes we are very hesitant to open it. But that depth and that mystery and that fogginess is really a place of birth. It's a place of rebirth. This is the house of solitude, spirituality, dreams, intuition, and the hidden parts of your psyche that shape your entire emotional world. I love to think of the 12th house as the womb. Before you're born, aka Aries, you are in Pisces, the warm waters of your mother's womb, where you develop, where you're in the dark, where you can hear a faint heartbeat, where you sense and absorb everything that's going around you while simultaneously developing eyes, limbs, and fingers. It's so deep. It is the essence of creation. Yet it's that same darkness that scares many of us. It's that same darkness that can torture some of us emotionally or even spiritually. And so the purpose of this video is to sort of demystify the 12th house and to get you to understand it with clarity, not just for the sake of knowledge, but for the sake of power. And to help you realize that rebirth is a very regular part of our living lives. And the 12th house actually plays an important part in that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here's the problem. Most people move through life without realizing how much they're actually carrying. Old wounds, unprocessed grief, patterns they thought they'd outgrown, emotions they were taught to swallow, stories they never fully lived through. And when those things don't get processed, they kind of sink into the 12th house. This is where you suppress, you numb, you avoid, you escape, and you hold on to things long after they've expired. But unfortunately, or maybe even fortunately for you, the 12th house doesn't forget. It whispers, it leaks, it dreams for you. It pulls you inward until you face what you've stored there. And unless you understand your 12th house, you'll feel a heaviness you can't explain. one of the facets of the 12th house is that it represents our subconscious. And by definition, our subconscious is the part of us that we are not conscious of. Some may call it your shadow side, your subconscious, but whatever you call it, it's not the thing that's at the forefront of your thoughts. And if you know how manifestation works, if you understand how you create your reality, you create it from your subconscious. And so oftentimes when we're experiencing things in our realities that we don't like, it's because we've got things in our subconscious stored, stacked, stagnant, that's really running the show for us. And when you come to that realization, it's this simultaneous like aha moment and also feeling of dread. The aha moment is, wow, okay, so I understand how this works now. The dread comes from, but now I have to face these things. And it is no easy task by any stretch of the imagination. 12th house work, shadow work, as necessary as it is, it's understandable why people avoid it. It's hard. It's challenging. It's reliving wounds that you thought you placed in a closet never to examine again. But like I said, it's necessary. And if you want your reality to look a certain way, you've got to open that Pandora's box. So why don't we begin by opening it together? If you're familiar with my channel, you're likely familiar with this series, this ongoing series at this point in time. And it's your rising sign series, where I have a dedicated video for almost all of the rising signs. At the time of this recording, I'm still kind of working through it, even though it's been like a year. And in these videos, and I'll put the link to the playlist in the description box below, so if you haven't checked it out, you have a better idea of what I'm talking about. In each of these rising sign videos, I talk about what is hidden. Because the 12th house, especially, I think, especially when you are examining your rising sign is how you show up in the world. It's your entrance, it's your incarnation into this lifetime. Your 12th house kind of talks about where you've been. It talks about the side of you that you don't see. And that forward-facing rising sign is very much influenced by that 12th house. So in each video, I delineate the 12th house. However, I'm going to do it here as well, since this video is about the 12th house. So you can start to understand perhaps your shadow side, why certain things occur, why your reality looks a certain way, and perhaps what you need in order to sort of get your inner world in order. So we begin with Aries as the 12th house. And so if you have Aries as your 12th house, you would be a Taurus rising. So you suppress anger, frustration, and desires you think are quote unquote too much. Your subconscious battles happen through impulsive dreams, sudden emotional releases, or burnout cycles. Now, Taurus rising is seen as dependable, steadfast. You know, Taurus often gets the connotation of sort of being lazy because they like comfort and luxury. Some may even find them to be less than confrontational. And this is important because with Aries as the 12th house, you suppress anger a lot. You have a lot of anger. You have a lot of hidden rage, especially if you are non-confrontational. Now, with that Aries 12th house, it is so important for you to release in a healthy way that anger. Otherwise, it'll show up in your body as inflammation. It'll store itself in your liver, and it'll just generally make life miserable. And interestingly enough, Taurus rules the throat. So as a Taurus rising, my advice to you, exercise that throat chakra. You don't have to be like a bull in a china shop when you get angry. But if you are angry, if you are frustrated, you need to let that out. Thereafter, we have Taurus as the 12th house. This would mean that you are a Gemini rising. You hold on to comfort, memories, people, and emotions long past their expiration date. Your subconscious clings for safety even when it hurts. You know, Gemini is very youthful energy. It's very all over the place. Think of Gemini as like a toddler, curious, running, touching, and doing all these things. Yet, with Taurus as your 12th house, you are very still emotionally and very likely to hold a grudge silently. Keep in mind that the 12th house are the characteristics of the 12th house. It's the side of ourselves that we don't show the world. So while your forward-facing Gemini energy is probably out there and making it seem like something didn't bother you or you're able to move past it really quickly, underneath the surface, you are holding on to anger. You're holding a grudge. You're holding on to the emotions that whatever situation made you feel, right? And so for you, processing those emotions, releasing them, because what's going to end up happening is those emotions are going to become trapped in your body. And this is when we see things like physical ailments, right? So again, sort of much like Taurus rising, you guys need to express yourself. Remember, Taurus rules the throat. So especially with Gemini being such a communicative sign, speak your piece, even if it hurts. Next, we have Gemini as the 12th house, which means that you are a Cancer rising. So your mind never turns off. Your subconscious holds all the conversations you didn't have and the truths you didn't speak up about. Your dreams can feel chaotic or symbolic. So as a Cancer rising, you present as someone who's super intuitive, very emotional. Emotions are your realm. It's where you reign. Yet underneath the surface, you're all mental. And remember, all is mental. That's the first of the universal laws. And so your subconscious is on overdrive a lot of times. Like I said, holding on to conversations you didn't have, truths that you didn't speak up about. And so if you're experiencing some of that wonkiness in your reality, it's because your mind is literally running the show on overdrive. And so to quiet that noise, meditation is going to be your best friend, right? In order to address those truths, it's not just about processing them internally, which you are the kings and queens of doing. It's more so about actually expressing them, right? Gemini is your 12th house. Gemini is the sign of communication. So rather than just holding them in and processing them within yourself, right? Because Cancer rising can be really great at, okay, this happened and I understand why it happened, so I'm letting it go. Meanwhile, you didn't say what you needed to say. So say it, express yourself. And now we arrive at Cancer as the 12th house. This would mean that you are a Leo rising. You carry emotional history like family heirlooms. You suppress tears, nostalgia, hurt, and longing until it floods. This always reminds me of, now I don't know this from firsthand experience. I know this from secondhand experience from people who have gone through this, but they say like when you get liposuction, you have to be able to keep your fat under control because otherwise it'll start showing up in weird places in your body and you'll have these fat pockets where they don't necessarily belong. And that's exactly what Cancer as the 12th house, that's the image that it evokes, because Leo is prideful. You know, Leos are the kings and queens of the jungle in the zodiac, right? And it's this performance that Leos give. And please don't confuse what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Leos are generally performative or that they're fake. It's just that Leo knows how to be on the stage. They know how to garner attention. But they may be carrying a lot of heavy emotions. Cancer as that 12th house, that can evoke emotions that you're carrying, perhaps from previous lifetimes. Cancer is the sign of, it's associated with your heritage, right? So when they talk about generational curses, Leo rising, you literally could be carrying this with you. Understanding how to process your emotions and to nurture yourself, because Cancer is the sign of nurturing. That is going to help you sift through that Pandora's box of emotions, because the last thing that you want is a flood. And that flood is going to wreck your entire performance. Okay, so keep that in mind. We now move on to Leo as the 12th house, which means that you are a Virgo rising. So you hide your insecurities, dimming your light where no one can see it. Your subconscious is loud but private, a hidden struggle with worthiness. Now, this is an interesting dynamic because Virgo rising, you're very comfortable in a supporting role, very comfortable service-oriented. But yet with Leo as that 12th house, you secretly, subconsciously are the main character. And perhaps your desire, this hidden desire for attention, for love, authentic love, real love, that desire for your inner child to be recognized, even though that Virgo rising has you very much in adult mode, that Leo 12th house wants you want to be less serious. You want to be more Leo-like. And that can really it can really be a mind fuck, right? Because you're literally on adult mode, but your inner child is really loud. The best advice, reconcile the two. Don't ignore your inner child. You really need to bring them to the table, see what they want. Give them what they want from time to time. They don't necessarily need to be running the show. However, they cannot be ignored. Next, we've got a Virgo as the 12th house, which means that you are a Libra rising. You repress self-criticism, worry, guilt, and perfectionism. Your subconscious is constantly fixing what didn't even need fixing. So as the Libra rising, you are, to a certain extent, happy-go-lucky. You're the relationship sign. You're always in communication with people. You're very of the people, let's say that. Yet underneath the surface, you are extremely critical of yourself. Your inner critic is loud and is likely triggered whenever you receive criticism from others. That Virgo 12th house lights up when someone tells you how to do something better or what you're not doing. And if worry, guilt, perfectionism, if ruminating on the things that you didn't do well hasn't been addressed, you're likely a ball of nerves on the inside. You're likely very harsh and maybe even self-deprecating on the inside. Understanding your worth and understanding that you don't need to show up as perfect is likely your task and is how you'll quiet all that noise so you can get back to being the charming motherfuckers of the zodiac that you are. And I say that with complete love. And now we arrive to Libra as the 12th house. This means that you are a Scorpio rising. You suppress resentment, disappointment, and unmet expectations to keep the peace. Your subconscious holds the conflict you avoid. Now, interestingly enough, Scorpio rising is mysterious. It's intense. It is the depth of the ocean. And in my Scorpio rising video, I talk about how the secret side of Scorpio is superficiality. Not to say that Libras are superficial, but Libra is definitely not diving deep into the depths of the ocean. Libra is more surface level. Libra wants everyone to get along. Libra wants peace and harmony, whereas Scorpio, as a sign generally, and the Scorpio energy, can almost thrive in chaos, can almost thrive in destruction. And that's not a bad thing. Those things are necessary in life generally. But while you are the disruptor and the transformer on the outside, on the inside, you just want everyone to get along. You want people to not be mad at you. You don't want to have to confront people over things. You want to feel accepted. You want to be in relation with people. And without having those needs met, can provide a real void in your life. With Libra as your 12th house, you need relation, right? We all need relation. However, for you, that's like a secret thing you may not even be aware of. And the lack of it can provide a void that you will always feel. So you need to fill that void. You need to come up for air every so often. You don't have to live at the bottom of the ocean by yourself and require everyone to meet you at your depth. Sometimes you need that little bit of superficiality. You need to come up to the shore for some fresh air and some socializing. Next, we have Scorpio as the 12th house, which means that you are a Sagittarius rising. You bury betrayal, obsession, jealousy, guilt, and desire. Your subconscious is a vault, powerful, but often heavy. Sagittarius rising presents as someone who is jovial, who is optimistic, a breath of fresh air. They'll help you expand your mind and show you different experiences, right? They're in the upper stratosphere. They're in outer space. Yet that hidden side is a Pandora's box that is locked, chained up at the deepest depths of the ocean. This could often indicate that you perhaps maybe even suppress some really awful things that have either happened to you or that you've done. Feelings of jealousy, guilt, desire even, you kind of lock those up. It may be a place that you are afraid to go. And I don't blame you. That Scorpio energy, the depth of the ocean, Scorpio energy is very much Pandora's box. And with Scorpio as your 12th house as a Sag rising, again, it can be a very scary place to traverse, but you have to nonetheless. If it doesn't get to see the light of day, that all of that energy sort of lives on, right? If you don't allow yourself to experience the emotions of guilt, of fear, of powerlessness, those heavy emotions that oftentimes we are conditioned to ignore. This is why we see physical ailments. This is why we see emotional unrest. You got to open the box. It's not going to make you any less jovial. It's not going to take you out of the stratosphere. It's actually going to help you soar even higher. Next up, we have Sagittarius as the 12th house. This means that you are a Capricorn rising. You run from feelings through distraction, humor, or busyness. Your subconscious holds the emotions you don't have time for. So Capricorn rising, super serious. These are the bosses. You are all about structure and work. Yet secretly, when it comes to processing emotions, you're either too busy or you make light of it, or, you're just distracting yourself, right? That Sagittarius 12th house, it can lend itself to a bit of escapism. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is all about expansion. The 12th house is sort of the natural house of Pisces, and Pisces is all about escapism. Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter as well. So you just busy yourself with work. You don't address what's there. You laugh it off as if it's not that serious. But these things indeed are serious, and they warrant your attention and your effort. And so rather than joking it off or laughing it off or pretending that you just don't have the time to address what's really going on with you, schedule the time to examine these things, to examine your emotions. Because with Sagittarius as your 12th house, and Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, the more you ignore them, the bigger they will become and the louder they will become. Next, we've got Capricorn as the 12th house, which means that you are an Aquarius rising. So you repress vulnerability. You store emotional burdens like responsibility. Your subconscious carries the weight of everything you couldn't control. Now, Aquarius rising can really present as like the free spirit, the oddball out, the quirky one, right? But keep in mind that Aquarius is co-ruled by Saturn, so Aquarius still has some structure to it. And with Capricorn as your 12th house, you kind of treat your inner world like a to-do list, like a task. Rather than actually emotionally processing these things that are in your 12th house, these secrets, your inner world, you kind of try to micromanage them. You probably try to rationalize them away rather than actually feeling them. And anything that you couldn't control, anything that couldn't get on your schedule, anything that you couldn't master kind of goes into the 12th house. And by the way, the 12th house is known as like the dustpan of, well, it's really Pisces that's known as the dustpan, but you can really think of the 12th house in the natal chart as like the dustpan. It collects everything from houses 1 through 11, right? And anything along that way that you couldn't control, you threw in the junk drawer of the 12th house. But the 12th house is not a place of structure. It's a place of emotions. It's a place of fluidity. And until you can approach it in that way, you may experience a lot of stagnancy. You may experience a lot of control issues even. So stop treating it like a project and fall into it emotionally. Moving on, we make our way to Aquarius as the 12th house, which means that you are a Pisces rising. So you detach from your feelings and store them here. Your subconscious expresses through dreams, intuition, and sudden emotional downloads. So Pisces rising lives within the realm of emotions, and you're very comfortable there. You're very comfortable with your self-conscious because Pisces is the sign of spirituality. It's the natural sign of the 12th house. But funny enough, when it comes to your deepest emotions, you literally emotionally detach from them because that's the energy signature of Aquarius. So you may try to logically rationalize your emotions, which sounds odd given the fact that you live in your emotions like on a regular basis. But here's the thing. I feel like Pisces rising, you swim through your emotions, but you may not feel them. You may try to understand them logically, but you don't necessarily feel them. And what you don't feel, you store in the dustpan of the 12th house. But your dreams are very prophetic. Your dreams can give you a lot of communication and a lot of insight, which makes complete sense. But that emotion that you guys are so used to, that emotional realm that you guys live in, you need to tap into that when talking about your own emotions, your own subconscious, your own inner world. Okay, that's extremely important because it's so interesting. That was always very interesting to me, the fact that I feel like Pisces is the most emotional, the most tapped in emotionally and spiritually. And for you to approach your inner world with such logic and such emotional detachment, I always found very interesting. Okay, however, be that as it may, use your emotions when examining your emotions. And then finally, we arrive at Pisces as the 12th house, which means that you're an Aries rising. So you absorb everything, your feelings, other people's feelings, the room's feelings. You are like a sponge secretly. Your subconscious is porous, intuitive, and deeply empathetic. Now, Aries rising presents as a wild child, a firecracker. It's the first sign of the zodiac, the initiator, the pioneer, ready and willing to, set your sights on a target and super motivated to achieve it, go after it, driven. Yet on the inside, you're super soft, very sensitive, and you feel everything. And I think that people might take that for granted when it comes to you. A lot of people may think that you may not be emotional, but you're deeply emotional on the inside. And so it follows that you really need to be cognizant of what you are ingesting spiritually, mentally in your environment, because you are like a sponge. You're likely carrying other people's emotions that have nothing to do with you, and you're not even realizing it. And that's a very heavy place to be. And especially as an Aries rising, as someone who's a mover, a shaker, a pioneer, and a trailblazer, you don't need that kind of energy holding you down. So you need to parcel out what's yours and what's not yours and act accordingly. So now when it comes to the 12th house, here's the truth that no one talks about. The shadow side of the 12th house is avoidance. Not because you're weak, but because what is stored in the 12th house is so overwhelming. This house shows what you avoid, what you bury, the ways you sabotage yourself, the feelings you're scared to face, the wounds you've inherited, the endings you've never processed, the dreams that you suppress, the patterns you repeat without knowing why, and so much more. The things that we don't want to face. The 12th house is kind of like your spiritual basement, and everything you store there eventually whispers back. And that's what I want you to really understand about the 12th house. You can only hide these things but for so long. Imagine a closet in your house that you just keep shoving things in, right? Company is coming over, so rather than, cleaning up properly, you just shove everything in the closet and you keep doing that. What's going to happen? Eventually, the door is going to come off the hinges and everything that you put in there is going to come spilling out. This is when we have emotional breakdowns, nervous breakdowns, health issues, psychosis. I'm going to say that again, psychosis, nervous breakdowns. You have to address what is in your 12th house. So here's a wellness tip, and here's how you can shift the energy as it pertains to your 12th house. The 12th house doesn't need dramatic healing, despite what you may think. It needs gentle honesty. Here's the thing about emotions. The only thing that they want is to be acknowledged. Once they're acknowledged, they leave. The only reason why they stick around is because they want attention. That fear, that sadness, that anger, it keeps coming up because you haven't properly addressed it. When you properly address it, it'll salute you and then be out the door. So this isn't about copious rounds of healing. It's gentle honesty and acknowledgement. So here's a simple ritual for you. Spend 5 minutes each evening asking yourself, what am I avoiding? Now, when you do this, you want to set yourself in a quiet space, limit distractions, and give yourself the time and the opportunity to be honest with yourself. Don't force an answer. Let it come up naturally. Give it space. Because the moment you acknowledge what's hiding, the 12th house stops haunting you. The moment you open Pandora's box, it's no longer a mystery anymore, and everything dissipates and disappears. And when you acknowledge what's in the 12th house, it stops haunting you and starts helping you. The 12th house is your spiritual detox. It's your place of release. It's your quiet healing. But most importantly, it's the return to yourself. As a matter of fact, the 12th house is the reason why I'm actually doing voiceovers all December. Because apart from, the Pandora's box of emotions and all your unprocessed wounds and trauma and things, the 12th house is also the house of rest, retreat, recalibration, and spiritual integration. And understand that as much as I'm out here doing all of these things, my priority is my own healing and my own ascension. And as I move through my own healing, I'm letting myself slow down, pull back, and honor the softness that this month requires. You know, I've got my own 12th house, and as a Taurus rising, I've got Aries as my 12th house, and honey, the anger, the burnout, yeah, it's real. And this is the month where I'm actually taking the time to really examine it, rest, and be fresh for a new fiscal year that is fastly approaching. So what I want to leave you with is this. The 12th house isn't a scary place. It's where you finally stop running and start listening. And most importantly, it's the house where you can be reborn. It's the house where you can start anew. Once you clear out that closet, open Pandora's box, release what's in there, now you can start anew, lighter and healed. So, if you want to understand your emotional healing style on a deeper level, then take my cute little self-care signature quiz. It can give you your self-care signature. You get a free guide. It's a whole vibe. If you are interested, the link is in the description box below. And if you made it this far through the video, this is a long one because I really wanted to delineate each 12th house so that you guys are crystal clear on what it entails. If you are here, let me know what your 12th house is. And if you want to share anything further, that's definitely up to you. Okay, so everything that you need in terms of services, joining my private community, working with me via the blueprint, which is my signature natal chart series, all of that is detailed in the description box below. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one. Take care.